I used to hate working my 9 to 5 jobs. I remember waking up early, having to get ready, and then just literally commuting to work, spending 12 hours there, and literally coming home feeling exhausted. And I used to just hate my life, right? Now, this happened for a very long time. When I was working back in the UK, I was working several jobs. I was working in Argos, I was working in World Duty Free, I was working in Sky. And literally, it got to a point where it was so repetitive. I hated life. And just it was difficult, right? It was so difficult. I couldn't do what I wanted. I had to work for someone, and life was just getting harder and harder and harder, right? Then what I did was I took the biggest risk of my life, and I said, you know what? I'm going to quit my 9 to 5 job, and I'm going to move to Dubai, right? And that's what I did. I took the risk. I moved to Dubai. I had no savings. I had literally nothing going for me, just a little bit of online income, but again, it wasn't enough to survive on. Now, over 12 months later, I'm now still here in Dubai, as you can see. I make over 6 figures a year on my online coaching business. And the most important thing about this is that I'm able to make money wherever I want, when I want, and I get to do whatever I want, right? Which I never had in my 9 to 5 jobs. Now, if you're watching this, you most likely hate your job, right? If you hate your job and you're working a 9 to 5 job right now, well, you need to watch this video, because this video is actually going to change your life. And if you watch this video to the very end, you might even be able to quit your job, right? Now, the reason why a lot of you guys hate your 9 to 5 job is not because, of your actual job itself. A lot of people think, oh, my job itself isn't good, that's why I'm unhappy. Maybe if I get a better job, I will, be a little bit more happier. Or maybe if I get a higher paying job, I'll be happier, right? And this is a massive misconception. I'll tell you guys why. Because when I was working my 9 to 5 job back in the UK, right? So for example, I was working in Argos, right? And Argos was very difficult. I had customers in front of me all the time, and I had to do delivery, so it was very labor intensive. And I said to myself, you know what? I'd rather have a job where I don't get to speak to anyone, and that way it's just easier for me. So I got the World Duty Free job, and I wasn't speaking to anyone. But when you're working in a warehouse and not speaking to anyone, well, it's even harder, right? Because you're literally working, you can't speak to anyone, you're in a warehouse, there's no windows, you've got the radio playing 24/7, and that got so depressing, right? And in fact, it was so depressing, someone actually committed suicide at work. And then I said, you know what, let me work at Sky. At least I get to talk to people on the phone, and I get to sit down, there's not labor intensive, I can chill and just have food at my desk and just relax. That also wasn't great, because when I was working at Sky, I'm taking calls back to back, right? We weren't even allowed little breaks in between calls. So your mouth used to get dry a lot, and it used to get so repetitive, so long, and yeah, it wasn't great. Again, it wasn't great, and you used to get tired, you used to have work politics as well, all of that kind of stuff. And then I said to myself, maybe if I get a job, like an office job where I get to work, on the computer, and at least I get to talk to people, and then also be at my desk, and then sort of have a little bit more freedom, that might actually be better. That's when I got the job as a media operator within Sky, right? And honestly, that was the best job out of all of them, 100%. But even so, I was sitting there for 12 hours, pretty much doing nothing all day. And I'm just like, this is not great either. Like, I didn't enjoy any of that. Now, just before I continue, right, if you do need any help with starting your own online business, where I can scale you to 10K a month working with me on a 3-month program, click the link in the description below and book in a call with me. And what we'll do is jump on a call, and I'll see exactly how I can help you. So it's not the role that you dislike, it's the fact that you're working your job. And if you weren't working a job, and let's say you're working for yourself, I guarantee you'd love it even more. Like, you'd love it so much. So what that means is, it's not the job that is affecting you, it's not the role that's affecting you, it's the fact that you don't have freedom. And now freedom is one of the most important things, right? The ability to do what you want when you want is so, so important. A lot of people prioritize money, right? And yes, I agree, money is definitely what you should be aiming for, because money is a tool that will allow you to have freedom, 100%. But the main goal isn't to make a lot of money. The main goal is to have freedom, because freedom means that I can wake up late today if I wanted to. Today I woke up early, right? But generally, I wake up late. I normally wake up at like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. I normally sleep very late as well. And yeah, it's not a great habit, but I'm able to do what I want, right? That's the point. I'm able to wake up when I want, go to sleep when I want. And a lot of you guys don't have that, because when you're working a 9 to 5 job, if you start at 9 a.m. tomorrow, for example, well, you need to sleep early, because you need to also wake up slightly early. A lot of you guys might have to wake up at like 7 a.m., then get ready, go leave the house at like 8 a.m., and then you'll get to work at 9 a.m. So you don't actually start at 9 a.m., you start when you wake up. So if you wake up at 7 a.m., that's basically your shift starting, because you don't want to wake up at 7 a.m. Like, who wants to wake up at 7 a.m., right? And basically your shift starts straight away. And this is the most annoying thing about working a job, because you have to wake up when your boss tells you to wake up, right? Whereas people like me who have an online business, we get to wake up whenever we want. And in fact, we get to plan our day how we want. I can plan tomorrow how I want. I can plan the next day how I want. And this is the thing with making money online, which is something that you don't get with, especially even a physical business, because even a lot of physical businesses, you still have to go into your shop, you still need to check everything, you still need to check up on your staff, whereas I can just open my laptop at any point and do the same, right? Like, how many times have you guys felt that, restriction when you go to sleep because you have to, you wake up in the morning because you have to, then you go to work and you have to follow everything your boss tells you because you have to. But ask yourself deep down, do you want to do any of those things? Because a lot of you guys think, okay, maybe if I get a better job, I will be happier. And if it pays me more money, I will be happier. It never is the case, because all you're doing is chasing more money, more comfort really. But even then, you're not going to be happy. Even if you have the best job in the world, doing absolutely nothing, if you have to work 12 hours or if you have to work 8 hours following someone else's orders, you're not going to be happy. And this is the thing, right? This is what people need to understand, because you've been told your whole life that's the only way to make money. The only way to make money is, go to school, go to university, get a degree, work your way up in a company and you'll be happy, right? But that's not the case. And to be honest, maybe that worked about 30, 40 years ago. A lot of people could live comfortably 30, 40 years ago. But ask yourself right now, right? A lot of people, especially in the UK, I know I'm aware of this already, people can't even survive. You work 8 hours or 12 hours a day, you come home, you barely have time, so you need to go to sleep, so you can wake up for your shift again tomorrow, you barely have enough money to pay the bills, and you're sitting there thinking, am I just working 12 hours a day just to survive? Like, what kind of life is that? And it's only going to get worse, because this is the slave mind that the Matrix has programmed to a lot of people and made people think that, this is the only way. You're basically slaves. At the end of the day, the government has basically made you a slave. And it's the worst thing ever, because if you're not going to try and escape it, well, you're going to stay a slave your whole life. So what you need to understand is that the only way out is by having your own business. And in my opinion, the best way is by having your own online business. Now, the reason I choose an online business over a physical business, because a physical business requires normally a startup cost. There's normally more overheads. You also need to have staff. So all of those kind of things, right? A lot of people aren't prepared to be able to do that. Whereas if you've got an online business, it's completely free to start. You can make money from day one, and there is literally no overheads. You don't have to pay much money, probably a few dollars a month for software, but even that's absolutely nothing compared to what you would have to do with a physical business. Not only that, right? The whole point of this video is that you get freedom. When you have an online business, you can work where you want, you can work when you want. For example, I'm here in Dubai, right? Normally I work at home, but times I go to a coffee shop, at times I work at a beach, at times I go to marina, or I'll go to a mall and I'll just have my laptop and work, right? Now, you can't normally do that if you're working a job. Now, a lot of people are going to say to me, yeah, but I work from home, X, Y, and Z. The same thing, because you still have to work 12 hours, right? It's the same exact thing. So whether you work from home, whether you work in the office, you're still working for someone else, you're still following orders, and you can't make more money, right? You'll always have a cap on your salary. Unless you do a sales job, you'll always have a cap on your salary. So why not make money for yourself? Why not make more money working less hours for yourself than working more hours and getting paid less working for someone else? Tell me, how does that make sense? Why would you work for someone else, get paid less, right, and work more hours compared to working for yourself, making more money and working less hours and working in your time? So you guys tell me what's the best option, because honestly, if you guys think that working a job is the best thing ever and that's the only way you're going to escape, well, I will tell you right now, the way inflation is going and the way your wages are going up, inflation is beating it by 3-4 times, right? Which means that in about 10 years, you're barely going to have enough to survive. In fact, what's going to happen, you're just going to get more and more debt, right? So this is the time. We're in 2025. This is the time to start an online business. Now, if you do need any help with starting your own online business, where I can scale you to 10K a month working with me on a 3-month program, where I'll jump on a call with you every week on a one-to-one basis, click the link in the description below, book in a call with me, and I'll see exactly how I can help you guys. Now, if you are struggling and your mindset is holding you back, well, make sure you watch the video that you see on your screen, and I'll see you guys there.